The Cleveland Browns, knee-deep in yet another quarterback drama. Only this time, it's not about injuries. It's not about poor drafting. It's not even about washed-up veterans clinging to relevancy. This time, it's about power. More specifically, it's about an owner who believes in a rookie quarterback and a coaching staff that seems hell-bent on pretending he doesn't exist. Let's talk about that tension, because it's not subtle anymore. It's right there in front of us.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Simmering under the surface of every post-game press conference and every frustratingly conservative play call. And while the Browns are busy stacking early season losses under a quarterback who should honestly be mentoring, not starting, one name keeps coming up again and again. Shedeur Sanders. Yes, a fifth-round pick, a project quarterback, a kid with football in his blood, swagger in his walk, and, let's not sugarcoat it, a stat line that made half the internet laugh after his second preseason game. -27 yards, 5 sacks, 0 scoring drives. It was rough. It looked bad. But you know what else it looked like? Sabotage. Or, at the very least, a coaching staff that's playing politics instead of football. Because here's the truth no one in that building wants to say out loud. Sanders didn't fail. He got failed. Failed by poor protection. Failed by 0 in-game adjustments. Failed by the kind of passive-aggressive coaching that says development in public but gives you third-string receivers, a vanilla script, and a leash shorter than a halftime show. And yet, despite all that, despite the national media taking their easy jabs, despite the coaching staff clearly favoring Dillon Gabriel, despite the sideline body language, the second-half benchings, the whispers of not NFL ready, one man isn't flinching. Owner Jimmy Haslam. Say what you want about Haslam, and believe me, plenty of people have. But right now, he might be the only person in the organization actually thinking long-term. Because while the coaches are playing it safe, desperately clinging to their Flacco knows the system narrative, Haslam is doing something radical. He's betting on potential. He's watching practices, asking for development reports, pushing for more snaps. Because he sees what some others are pretending not to. This kid has it. Not perfect mechanics, not immediate polish, but something. That intangible, uncoachable spark. The same thing people saw in Josh Allen when he looked lost as a rookie. The same thing Lamar Jackson had when people said he's just an athlete. The same thing Patrick Mahomes had when he sat behind Alex Smith and everybody said, maybe in a couple years. Yeah, that thing. And here's where it gets spicy. Because this isn't just a developmental story. It's a full-blown power struggle. Coaches versus ownership. Short-term job security versus long-term investment. Stefanski and his staff want to win now, to scrape together 9 wins and pray it's enough to survive another season. Haslam? He's playing chess. He's looking 3 years down the line. And guess what? That's what owners are supposed to do. It's not about week 3. It's about building a franchise. And Haslam's not stupid. He knows Flacco's a patch, not a future. He knows Gabriel might be serviceable, but he's not generational. And he knows, deep down, that if Shedeur's ceiling is even close to what people think it might be, you don't waste that by burying him in a broken depth chart just to squeeze out another safe season. And yet, despite this clarity, Sanders remains benched. Scraps for reps, no 2-minute drills, no red zone packages, not even a real look with the starters. What are we doing? You've got a 22-year-old with elite college production, NFL DNA, a high football IQ, and you're worried about readiness? Let's be honest, if you judged every successful NFL quarterback off their first month in the league, half of them wouldn't have careers. Go look up Peyton Manning's rookie year. Go look at Josh Allen's accuracy rate. Go rewatch Justin Herbert's first few games. The only reason those guys broke through? They were allowed to. And that's the fork in the road right now. That's the choice the Browns have to make. Do you keep coddling your coaching staff's fear of failure? Or do you finally put your money where your draft pick is and let Shedeur play? Because let's not pretend this team is too competitive to take that leap. You're already losing games with Flacco. The offense is sputtering. The line isn't protecting anyone. Fans are restless. National media is circling. You're not saving anything by riding this ship into 7 to 10 obscurity. So why not hand the wheel to someone who could, at the very least, make it interesting? Shedeur brings energy. He brings eyes. He brings a reason to tune in every Sunday. And don't underestimate that. Football is more than just wins and losses. It's a product. It's a culture. And right now, the Browns' culture is getting eaten alive by mediocrity. The fact that Haslam even has to step in and advocate for the quarterback he drafted should tell you everything you need to know about the dynamic inside that building. This isn't about who's better in drills. This is about control. Stefanski doesn't want a player he didn't choose to come in and flip the narrative. He doesn't want to risk a rookie making mistakes that reflect poorly on his system. He doesn't want the headlines. But here's the problem. He's already losing. He's losing games. He's losing the locker room. He's losing the fans. And if he keeps ignoring the one player who could save this season from total irrelevance, he's going to lose his job. Because, make no mistake, Jimmy Haslam isn't just tracking stats. He's tracking loyalty. And when the guy writing the checks believes in a player, but the staff he hired refuses to even try, that doesn't end with a team meeting. That ends with pink slips. So what happens next? We all know. The season continues to unravel. Flacco throws a couple more desperation picks. Gabriel gets trotted out as the new spark, but underwhelms. The media's storm grows. Fans keep chanting Shedeur's name louder and louder until the whole stadium starts to feel like a pressure cooker. And then, when the tension finally hits the breaking point, he gets his shot. Maybe week 6. Maybe week 8. Maybe after a primetime disaster that breaks the dam wide open. And when he does, don't be surprised if the entire energy of the team shifts. Because Sanders isn't just waiting to play. He's preparing to. He's staying locked in, handling the noise, showing up early, leaving late, saying all the right things while everyone else loses their minds around him. That's professionalism. That's leadership. That's QB1 energy. The Browns just need to stop fighting it. So let's wrap this up with a little clarity. This isn't about Flacco. This isn't about Gabriel. This isn't even about one bad preseason stat line. This is about vision. And if the coaching staff doesn't share the owner's vision, then maybe it's not the quarterback room that needs adjusting. Maybe it's the headset upstairs. So what do you think? Should Jimmy Haslam step in and force Shedeur into the starting lineup? Can Sanders overcome a coaching staff that's clearly dragging its feet? And how long can the Browns keep ignoring the only quarterback in the building who might actually change their future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit subscribe for more of the truth they're too scared to say out loud. Because Shedeur Sanders will get his shot. Because the next chapter in this Brown-Shedeur saga, it's not just about quarterback development anymore. It's a full-blown identity crisis. A franchise caught in the middle of its own civil war. Coaching staff versus ownership. Old school versus new blood. Job security versus generational potential. And somewhere in the crossfire, a 22-year-old kid named Shedeur Sanders, just waiting for the world to stop treating him like a liability. It's wild, honestly. You've got a player with NFL pedigree, next-level maturity, and the confidence of a 10-year vet. But instead of building around him, the coaching staff's been doing backflips to keep him off the field. Let's not sugarcoat it. They don't trust him. Not with the playbook. Not with the pocket. Not with the spotlight. But guess who does? Jimmy Haslam. And look, we've criticized Haslam plenty over the years for good reason. But in this case, he might be the only one with some damn vision. He sees the future. He knows what Shedeur could become. He's not trying to chase a .500 record and call it a rebuild. He wants fireworks. He wants a face of the franchise. He wants Shedeur. And let's be honest, he's right too. Because while Flacco checks all the boxes for veteran safety net, there's one thing he doesn't bring to the table anymore. Hope. That's what this is really about. Not wins, not QBR, not getting the ball out faster. It's about what Shedeur represents, a future that hasn't already been written in disappointment. A quarterback who could become elite if he's given time, structure, and belief. But right now, he's getting none of that. We've got coaches treating a rookie like a locker room inconvenience. A development plan that changes with every press conference. Media leaks framing Sanders as not ready, inconsistent, still learning the system. All while Gabriel eats up second-team reps and Flacco strolls through week 1 like it's 2013 again. How long do they think this is sustainable? Because here's the cold truth Stefanski doesn't want to admit. They're running out of excuses. Each loss under Flacco makes the pressure louder. Each highlight of Gabriel's very average gameplay fuels the question, why isn't Shedeur playing? Each week of internal silence makes Haslam look more like a ticking time bomb than a passive observer. And we're this close to detonation. There's a breaking point coming. It might be a 3-game losing streak. It might be a media blow-up. It might be a players-only meeting. But whatever it is, it's going to push the organization into a corner. And when that happens, guess who has the leverage? Not Stefanski. Not the coaches. Not even Flacco. It's Shedeur. Because when all the noise clears, the only thing left standing will be the one guy who still hasn't gotten a real shot. And once that shot comes, oh, it's over. Let's be very clear about this. Shedeur Sanders has all the tools. Yes, he had a bad stat line. Yes, the sack numbers were ugly. But you think Patrick Mahomes didn't throw ducks in practice his first year? You think Josh Allen never looked overwhelmed? Rookies struggle. It's part of the process. What matters is how they respond. And by all accounts, Shedeur's handling this better than most vets would. He's not lashing out in interviews. He's not going on social media to clap back. He's showing up, studying, grinding, and waiting for his moment. And when it comes, let me tell you right now, it's going to flip the script. Because there's nothing this city loves more than a player who rises from a mess. The comeback kid. The underdog who didn't get handed the job, but earned it. If Shedeur walks onto that field, takes the reins, and starts slinging it like we know he can, Cleveland won't just cheer. They'll rally. They'll believe. They'll finally feel something again. This fan base is starving for something real. Something electric. Something that doesn't feel like recycled hope from 2008. And Shedeur? He's got that juice. He's got that thing that makes you lean in when the ball leaves his hand. That subtle confidence. That pocket poise. That this game isn't too big for me, aura. And the coaches? The ones dragging their feet? They're going to look real funny trying to backtrack once it's obvious they had the guy all along. Because you know what happens next, right? If Shedeur succeeds, this entire off-season of resistance becomes a story. The hesitation. The slow walking. The passive aggression, the attempts to gatekeep his success. It all becomes the narrative. And it's not going to be a good look for Stefanski and his crew. Because when your owner drafts the QB, backs the QB, and keeps pushing for the QB, while you actively suppress his opportunities, that's not just a disagreement. That's insubordination. And when that QB eventually proves you wrong, that's your pink slip. So what should the Browns do? It's simple. Stop making excuses. Stop overthinking development. Stop coddling a system that hasn't worked in years. And start doing the only thing that might actually save this season. Let Shedeur play. Not mop-up duty. Not second-team reps. Not a "we're evaluating the situation" comment. Start him. Back him. Build around him. Let him make mistakes. Let him grow. Let him lead. Because even if he struggles at first, it's still his ceiling you're chasing, not some placeholder's floor. And if you're wrong, at least you were bold. At least you tried something real. At least you gave fans a reason to care again. But if you keep playing it safe, keep hiding behind readiness, keep acting like the 5th-round pick label means he has to wait his turn behind people he's already better than, then don't be surprised when Shedeur leaves. Don't be surprised when another team builds him up. Don't be surprised when Browns fans turn bitter. And don't be surprised when Jimmy Haslam decides he's had enough. Because if this owner believes in a quarterback and you refuse to see what he sees, You won't be coaching him. You'll be watching him from home. So what's it going to be, Cleveland? Stick with the fear? Or bet on the future? Let Shedeur ride the bench? Or let him cook? Either way, the clock's ticking. And if you're not paying attention, the future might just pass you by. Let's get brutally honest, because we're way past sugarcoating this situation. At this point, it's not even a question of whether Shedeur Sanders should be the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. It's whether this coaching staff is too stubborn, too prideful, or too politically motivated to let the obvious unfold in front of their own eyes. And that's where this story turns from frustrating to downright ridiculous. Because while fans are arguing over QB depth charts, while the front office is quietly leaking progress reports to justify their investment, and while Shedeur himself keeps his head down, grinding like his whole career depends on it, it's the coaching staff that's still refusing to budge. Still clinging to Dylan Gabriel like he's more than a clipboard and cleats. Still rolling out Joe Flacco like it's a 2016 nostalgia tour. Still acting like playing the fifth-round rookie is some kind of radical, dangerous idea instead of the most logical decision on the board. Let me ask you this. When did common sense become controversial? Because let's break it down again, real slow. The Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders. The owner is publicly and privately backing him. The current QB situation is producing L's, not leadership. The fans are losing patience faster than the offensive line loses protection. And the kid with the highest ceiling? He's still warming up behind two guys who wouldn't scare a college defense right now. You tell me, what exactly are we doing here? Oh wait, he's not ready. That's the line, right? He needs to develop. He's not quite there yet. We're being cautious. Please. That's not caution. That's cowardice wrapped in a PR blanket. That's a coaching staff more afraid of being wrong than they are of being mediocre. And guess what? Mediocrity is already here. The Browns are staring it in the face. This isn't a playoff team. This isn't a contender. This is a team floating in NFL purgatory with an aging starter, a fan base begging for change, and a head coach playing political chess while the season bleeds out. But somehow, taking a chance on talent is still being treated like a radical idea. Why? Because it wasn't their pick. That's the elephant in the room nobody wants to name. The reason Shedeur isn't getting his chance isn't about football. It's about ego. Stefanski didn't pick him. The scouts didn't push for him. The coaching staff didn't put their stamp on him. Jimmy Haslam did. And in the NFL, ownership influence is a tricky thing. Coaches hate it. They see it as meddling, as overstepping, as threatening their authority. But here's the thing. Sometimes the owner's just right. Sometimes it takes someone outside the coaching bubble to recognize actual potential. To say, I don't care if this guy was drafted in the 5th round. He's better than what we've got. To remind the football minds that they've been wrong before and they'll be wrong again. But you don't ignore the talent right in front of you just to save face. And the worst part? The Browns have seen this movie already. They've watched talent walk out the door because it wasn't handled properly. They've benched players who went on to thrive somewhere else. They've turned quarterback development into a meme, one that even Browns fans are too tired to laugh at anymore. If Shedeur ends up being the latest name on that long list of what-ifs, it won't be because he wasn't good enough. It'll be because the people in charge refuse to believe in something they didn't control. Let that sink in. And meanwhile, what's Shedeur doing through all of this? He's not causing drama. He's not going on Instagram live to air dirty laundry. He's not leaking complaints through anonymous sources. He's doing exactly what a franchise quarterback should be doing. Working. Quietly. Consistently. Professionally. That's the part people don't talk about enough. The kid has handled this like a pro, better, honestly, than some of the actual pros around him. No tantrums. No passive-aggressive pressers. Just a steady presence in a storm of dysfunction. And that's why this thing still has a chance. Because when not if Shedeur finally gets his shot, whether it's because Flacco goes down or Gabriel flames out or Haslam finally drops the hammer, it won't be a gamble anymore. It'll be a correction, a course adjustment, a team finally catching up to what everyone outside the building could already see. But the longer they wait, the harder it gets. the more fractured the fan base becomes. The more bitter the locker room grows. The more poisonous the media cycle becomes. And at some point, the Browns won't just be sabotaging a rookie. They'll be erasing the future they claimed they were building. It doesn't have to go down that way. They can still pivot, still be bold, still rally behind a quarterback who actually gives this team an identity. But they have to act now. So here's the ask. Enough hiding. Enough excuses. Enough protect the veteran nonsense. Start Shedeur Sanders. Start him in Week 5. Or Week 6. Hell, start him tomorrow. Let him make mistakes. Let him grow. Let him show the fans something worth watching. Because this safe, scared version of Browns football, it's done. No one's inspired by checkdowns and press conferences. No one's buying will reassess after the bye week. No one's waiting for Dylan Gabriel to suddenly become a dual-threat superhero. The fans are smarter than that. The team deserves more than that. And Shedeur? He's ready. Maybe not perfect, but ready. And honestly, perfection isn't what Cleveland needs right now. They need purpose. They need direction. They need belief. And Shedeur Sanders is the only player on this roster who still represents that.